Smoke Floating Palace. Chapter 1, Mistakes Under the Lamp, Who Hides the Knife in His Heart? In the middle of the night, only the lights flickering in the silent Yongdu Palace remained. In the Qianyuan Palace, the flowing lights fell on the yellow silk curtain and jade steps, like broken silver in the galaxy. The 26-year-old emperor, whose name is obscure, is sitting upright behind the bookcase, reviewing the mountains and seas. The palace maid serving on the side, named Yun Xuanyan, was dressed in a dark purple silk shirt, with a silver bell hanging from her waist. Her eyebrows were picturesque, but there was a deep frost hidden in her eyes. He held the pen like a cloud, but tonight he was restless. He could feel that Yun Yanyan's eyes, like a needlework and thread, were sewn into the back of his neck. It wasn't an ordinary peeping, but like a hidden knife, the cold was lurking. As soon as the pen turned, he mistakenly wrote the word smoke in the place where the royal pen was approved. He was stunned, and hurriedly smeared it with a red pen, as if he had been crossed by cicada wings in his heart. He raised his eyes and met Yun Xuanyan's gaze. Her eyes trembled slightly, as if she was ashamed and stunned, and lowered her eyes and took a half-step back. Obscure Chi smiled and said nothing, and his voice was as low as a jade collision. What are you thinking, so distracted? Yun Yanyan was silent, but his palms were already covered with cold sweat. How could she say that she had been looking for the Fengfu and the dumb gate a cup ointment in the neck of the obscure prayer? Her mission is to assassinate the emperor. She has studied art in the dark palace of Yuzhu for 10 years, just for today. However, his emotions surged for a while, and he lost his mind and revealed his murderous intent. I know your heart. Xian Qi suddenly held her hand, and the warm palm made Yun Yanyan feel sick to his stomach. The corners of her lips trembled slightly, but she resisted the urge to withdraw her hand, and the cold glint in her eyes was hidden. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 2, The Wind Rises, and the Killing Machine Lurks. Yun Xuanyan was not born in the palace. She is from the Li Yi, an ancient tribe that has long been erased by the history books. 7 years ago, Daong Iron Cavalry conquered the south and the north, destroyed Li Yao, and almost all the people were slaughtered, and the mastermind of all this is the current Sheng Xian. She watched her father Li Yun Miao being tied to an icicle and freezing to death, and watched her mother Sun Yangxiu lead a knife to kill herself. At that moment, she made a poisonous oath, no longer surnamed Li, only in the name of burning smoke. In this life, she will sacrifice the spirit of the clan with the blood of the emperor. After 7 years of lurking, she entered the palace as a maid, endured the bitter cold, and finally had the opportunity to get close to the emperor. And tonight is when she is scheduled to do it. She has hidden a very slender needle in the seam of her belt, which is a secret made by the Li Yao clan, called Soul Transformation Needle, and she is silent when she is stabbed. But she never expected that Yan Qi would take the initiative to hold her hand and say that sentence softly, which made her killing intent suddenly chaotic. Why don't you always speak? A strange look flashed in his eyes. I dare not say anything. Yun Jinyan responded with lowered eyebrows. Don't say you don't dare, you dare to look at me like this. It's a woman of courage. He smiled at the corner of his eye, as if joking, as if inquiring, Yanner. You know, your eyes look like one of the people I loved when I was a teenager. The word smoke made her almost sick. She suddenly raised her eyes and asked in a cold voice, has the emperor ever killed the person he likes? Hui Qi was startled, his smile faded a little, and he whispered, I have killed countless people. At this moment, Yun Yayan almost pulled out a long needle. At that moment, a eunuch outside the palace gate suddenly announced in a loud voice, General Chu asks to see. Xian Qi frowned and withdrew his hand. Biography. The palace door opened, and a general in silver armor walked in. It was the first god of war in Daong, Chu Wanyan. His eyebrows and eyes were cold, his aura was compelling, and a pair of tiger eyes glanced at Yun Yanyan. His eyes were as sharp as a knife. Your Majesty, there are unusual movements in the northern border, and it is suspected that the remnants of Li Jin are lurking. Chu Yu said in a heavy tone. Yun Jinyan's heart tightened and he suddenly felt a chill on his back. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 3, Dream and Truth, Blood and Smoke. He pondered for a moment and said, this matter is postponed and discussed in the future. Chu Yan wanted to say something but stopped himself when he saw Hui Qi look to stop him, so he retreated. Yun Xuanyan was relieved, returned to the side hall of the cold palace, and finally took out the soul needle and looked at it in a daze. The needle was like a hair, so thin that it was barely visible, but it was enough to take the life of the lord of a country. But her mind was in turmoil. Obscure. Not as cold-blooded and ruthless as she imagined. There are countless rumors about obscurity and violence in the palace, but she has been getting along day and night for the past few months, but she has seen him reading books, taking pity on the people, and even shedding tears for a sick eunuch. Don't. What else is going on in that massacre disaster? The more she thought about it, the more confused she became, and suddenly remembered that a young prince was captured during the escape of the clansmen, and it was rumored that this son was not born by obscurity, but the son of the Li Yao clan and the Yongguo secret alliance back then? That night, she tossed and turned, and couldn't sleep. On the second day, he was summoned to the imperial garden. Yan Qi was already enjoying the flowers by the pool, and when he saw her coming, he said softly, "Yan you. Who the hell is it?" She looked up in horror, and the needle in her hand could no longer be hidden. Yan Qi said indifferently, "Your killing intent is too obvious. If I hadn't pretended to be stupid, you would have been torn apart by 5 horses. Why do you? Don't kill me?" she asked in a hoarse voice. Yan Qi looked at her and replied softly, "Because I knew you weren't an ordinary palace maid. 7 years ago, I escaped from the battle to slaughter Li Xian, and you know, the whole camp was slaughtered, even my own brother Hui Sun died." She froze. "Are you the son who was captured that year?" "Yes." Yan Qi smiled bitterly. "I was sent back to Yonggong, replaced my brother under a pseudonym, and became the current emperor. The feud. I have it too." She had a long needle in her hand and landed silently. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 4, A Dream for 1,000 Years, Vanishing. Before the wind blows through the court, the wisteria sways gently. Obscure asked her softly, "If you were given a choice, would you be willing to stand side by side with me?" She was silent for a moment, but suddenly smiled, and the smile was sad and sad. "Li Liao's blood has penetrated into my bone marrow. How do you want me to put it down? Then kill me." Prey slightly closed her eyes and spread her arms. Yun Xuanyan stepped forward slowly, picked up the familiar and unfamiliar face, his fingertips were attached to the Fengfu cup ointment, and the long needle was in his sleeve. "In the end," she whispered, "if you are really the blood of Li Xian, why should I add another vengeance?" He opened his eyes like a raging lake, and finally withdrew his arm. Chapter 5, The Book of Flames, The Reappearance of the Shadow of Blood. It has been 3 years since Yun Yunyan left the palace. In the past 3 years, Daong has been in turmoil again. The flames of war rekindled on the border, and the court was also in turmoil. Although the Emperor Huiqi's rule is becoming increasingly stable, a secret message is heard: the embers of the world are not yet extinguished, but the embers of the underworld will soon be revived. This rumor began with a fragment of the Book of Shadows, which is said to record the forbidden arts, genealogy, and the life of the last true blood inheritor of the Li Yao clan. What's even more amazing is that the volume says, Obscure is not the son of the royal family, but a pawn of Li Yao's bloodline, and in order to suppress Li Yao's power, he was sent to the palace and succeeded to the throne in the name of his brother. The news shocked the government and the opposition. Prime Minister Su Yu, Minister of War Min Kenjian, and Empress Dowager Yuji Lanluan all urged a thorough investigation of the matter. At this moment, Huiqi suddenly felt that the familiar tenderness and trust in the palace were collapsing bit by bit. And the only person who can know the truth, the cloud of smoke, seems to have evaporated from the world. Until a night of snowstorm, Obscure received a letter, wordless, only painted with a family emblem, 2 flames intertwined, turning into a phoenix. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 6, The Mysterious Realm of the Star, Dreaming Back to the Dawn Frost. Yun Xuanyan lives in seclusion in an ancient place on the southeast sea cliff at this moment, called Frostbone Temple. This place is the last sanctuary of the Li Yao people, and it also contains the complete Book of Yujiao. During these 3 years, she has never been able to be at peace. She found out that she was the illegitimate daughter of Li Liao's former witch lord Sun Yangxiu and Yongwang Xianxian, and she prayed. It's her half-brother. Fate so cruelly pushes them to the border of killing and adoring. She tried to burn books several times, but she couldn't do it. On that day, she sent out the family emblem, just to remind Yan Qi, your real enemy is not the remnants of Li Yao, but the throne under your feet. Just when she was about to escape forever, outside the Frostbone Temple, a person suddenly appeared. Chu Wanyan. He was covered in snow and had a complicated expression. He said in a deep voice, the emperor was assassinated and is seriously injured and in critical condition. The Queen Mother and the Prime Minister are conspiring to depose the emperor and establish a successor. The military order has been lost and the capital is in danger. You are the only one who can save him. Why should I save him? Yun Jinyan asked. Because you know that if you do not save him, your people, whom he will keep with his life, it will be burned again. She closed her eyes and exhaled slowly, take me back. Underscore 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 un. Chapter 7, The Return of the Cinder Phoenix, The Fission of the Palace. 3 days later, a wisp of purple smoke was seen in the palace, lingering like a faint dream. When Yun Xuanyan stepped into the Qianyuan hall again, he was already lying on the sickbed, his breath was weak, but his eyes were still clear. When he saw her, he smiled like a young man, you are here. She helped him to sit down, and pressed her palm against his vein, I didn't come for you, I came for Li Yao. I know. For they. You didn't kill me 3 years ago. Hui Qi coughed lightly and said, they want to seize my military token. You know better than anyone that if the military token is lost, the world will be in chaos. Yun Jinyan remained silent, but took out a jade talisman from her sleeve, that was the military seal, which she had snatched from Chu Yan and had never returned to the court. This thing is your life, and it's my life. At this time, the sound of weapons was heard outside, and Empress Dowager Yuji Lanluan and Su Yu had already started fighting. Yun Jinyan helped Wiki stand up, put on the armor for him personally, and whispered, today, we stand shoulder to shoulder. The emperor and the palace maids, brother and sister, Li and Yang, at this moment, there is no longer a boundary. Underscore 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 un. Final chapter, the smoke is all burned, and the people return to the galaxy. The palace turmoil lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Yun Jinyan personally led the Suanwei tribe to kill the traitors. Although Wiki was injured, he still led the army personally to regain the military power. In the end, Empress Dowager Yuji committed suicide by taking poison, Su Yu was executed, and the court was reshuffled. After the victory, Yun Xuanyan did not enter the harem, nor did he list his title. She left the palace again, leaving only one sentence, my life does not belong to the palace wall. In the 12th year of Wiki's reign, he changed the reign title to Jinyuan, rectified the name of the Lijian clan bloodline, and erected a monument in the west garden of the imperial palace. The inscription read, where the smoke rises, it is not to burn down the country, where the ashes go, they will illuminate me for 1,000 years. Many years later, the history book Willow commented. In the middle of the Yang dynasty, there was a woman named Jinyan. She was neither an empress nor a concubine, but she shocked the court and the people. With one person and one needle, she could not only take the emperor's life, but also save the people. Her achievements and hatreds, her love and disasters, are all hidden in the mundane world.